Sean here. Welcome back to another vlog. Wandering the streets again, as I tend to do a lot here. Just got done shopping over at the Anchor Market. I needed to pick up a few things. No food today. So the other day, when I was at my friend Zemnang's place, I picked up a bottle of wine. I thought, might as well sip on a glass of wine instead of having a beer every now and again. Sounds like I will be a smart thing to do. Until I realized I didn't have a wine opener. I didn't have a wine glass. So I'm a fucking heathen. So I picked that up. And also because I've been making the sodas for myself, I picked up a sieve, like a fine mesh strainer, so that I can do a better job with it. And then of course I picked up a few little odds and ends because that's who I am. So I'm good, thank you. But yeah, today was a decent enough day. A nice relaxing day at home, chilled out most of the day. So I decided to get my ass off the couch and out for a walk. I woke up, it was 17 degrees today. Beautiful. But yeah, even now, I think it's like 25, 27 degrees. Let me double check. I'm good. Can't tell. Can't read my watch because I don't have my eyeglasses on. I have my sunglasses on. They're not prescription. So it's cold. It's cool. It does not feel hot. Let's put it that way. Even in the sun today, I was like, yeah, it's comfortable. I did trivia last night. I went to Palm. Every Thursday, they do it. I just stop and think, like, what day was it I do it? Yeah, so every Thursday night, they do a trivia. I think there was something like 10 or 12 teams there last night. A majority of the folks that I hang out with were not in town or sick. So it did not go according to plan. We scraped together a team. It was fun. I have no issues with it at all. But we ended up, I think it was like 6th place overall out of the 12. So, middle of the road. But it was a tight game, like between, I think we were within 8 points or something. But the last few questions, I was lost. I'm like, it was like a word jumble for movie titles, but the posters were foreign movie posters. And even when I found out what they were, I was like, I have no way I'd ever guess that. It was silly. So, but no, it was a good time. It was a very good time. I enjoyed it. I always enjoy the trivia. It's always an odd assortment of folks. Mostly expats. A lot of tourists end up coming in, which I find interesting. I don't know how they find out about it, but apparently it hits their radars. And the couple that joined us last night, they just arrived in Cambodia like this week and are actually planning on staying. So, hello. I don't like mentioning names because I didn't ask permission. So, but a conversation sparked last night, which I found interesting. So I thought I'd expand upon it a little bit. Nothing major, it's just an observation. And it was like a mutual observation. So after the trivia was done, we just sat around and chatted, and we were all talking about random stuff. And a lot of it tends to come down to our kind of like our philosophies and things, like why we've left the West, why we're here, and just kind of our observations. Now, I've been here for almost 2 years now. At the end of this month, it'll be in Asia for 2 years. I'm freaking out by that. But over the course of the last years, I have made a lot of observations about people that I've met, especially here in Siem Reap. And it was reinforced last night for sure, because they've only been here for, like I said, 5 days. And they had a compact version of the exact same thing that I've experienced. And that tends to be that a lot of the expats that are here are very open-minded. I think a majority of the ones that I end up, maybe it's serendipity, but the folks that I end up bumping into tend to be on a path, on a quest. They're searching for something, be it that they're disenfranchised and not happy with how things are in the West, like looking for a spiritual process, whatever it's going to be. I tend to find the folks that are here a lot more open-minded. And the other thing that I have found that, especially in myself, because I noticed this was happening to me back home, was that for years, I've been able to talk and debate with folks, and, like differing opinions never really bothered me. You have a different political slant. It's okay, as long as we can talk and have a discussion, a debate, and you're fine. As long as it's not just a person talking, but there's a communication, that there's an open, like you're responding. That's important. And what I found back home was that discussion was becoming less and less and less, and that we tended to be pairing off or grouping off into like-minded groups. And it was like you're finding your own bubble. And I especially noticed it happening after the pandemic. I don't know what anybody else's experiences were. I can only go based upon mine. But in Canada, we were locked down. In Montreal, we had a bubble. We were allowed a group of friends that we could, they were the only ones we were allowed to interact with. And it tended to be like neighbors and things, But for me, I had nobody. I had my online group of friends that I was gaming with. But what I found was that most of the people that I knew that were interacting with people outside of the online thing that I was doing were all finding their people, the like-minded people. There was no variance. And after it just seemed like the way that the media was steering us was towards isolating ourselves more and more and more, and we became more and more divided. And I found personally that it didn't matter if the division was politics, religion, or something, but that division was being hammered into us like it was something we needed. And I found that those debates stopped. And they no longer became debate, but they became arguments. It was us versus them. And I was just like, what in the hell is this? I'm okay, thank you. And it affected me. I mean, I found myself in that for a little bit, and I was like, whoa, got to get out of this. So for me, it was easy. I was isolated. I didn't have friends around or anything. So I just kind of started reaching out more. That was stupid. I just hit my wine glass against the pole. I heard the ting. I'm like, no, I hope I didn't break it. Oh, well. But even now, like I watch back, like some of the stuff back home in Canada, and I still see that like in the news, that divide's happening. It's like a cult of personality, right? So it's no longer, like, especially in politics, I found that it became like sports. You had your team, and it was us versus them. I'm like, when did this happen? Why couldn't I just like a party because they had something that I was in that politician spoke to me, and that way it was important. It wasn't because I had to follow a party, and which I think is really weird in Canada, because we have a bunch of different political parties, but you don't vote for a party. You vote for your local member of parliament. So you elect those into office. If you get enough of those in office, then you've got, your government based upon whatever party they're affiliated with. So if I was in an area where there was a conservative MP that was more aligned to my thinking than a liberal MP, that's the way I leaned. And it wasn't a party thing, it was just a person thing. And so, like, even in the 90s, I was seeing that, it was a party thing. I'm like, wait, you don't vote for parties here. You're voting for people. And it never made sense. And it's even more divided now. And I'm like, what in the hell? So what I've noticed over here, none of that matters. None of it. I have zero to do with politics here. Nothing. I have zero to do with religion here. What I do have is people. And so I go out and I'm hanging out with people. all over the world. I meet folks that are from America, from Canada, from England, from Australia, New Zealand, Germany, Russia, wherever. And we sit and hang out and we talk. And we're from completely different backgrounds, completely different everything. But we're all have the one thing in common, which is we're here. And we like it here. And we're looking for reasons to stay here. And I know personally, like, I'm the happiest I've ever been. And at no point do I think, hello. I'm being cautious around cars. I got hit by one earlier today. Well, not hit. I was walking down the street and one backed up. And I was standing next to it when it started to back up. I'm like, what? And I put my hand and I tapped on the back of the trunk. And they heard me and they stopped. And they get out and they said, oh, sorry. I was just like, I'm just more nervous. So anyway, yeah. But yeah, here it seems to be we're back to open discussions and, you know. Now I have had the odd person that just speaks. They don't want to listen. They don't want to have a conversation. They just want to preach. And I'm not talking like religion. I'm just talking, they want to hear their own words. It could be for whatever it is. And those are the people I just like, I think I'm going to go to another place. You know what? I have an appointment I need to get to. So I'm like, I'm never rude, but I'm just like, I'm out. I'm just done. Like, I guess, and that is like, you know, one person out of like 200 or 300, you know, it rarely happens. And I tend to never see those people again. I think they burn out pretty quick. Like, they're not happy the majority of the time. So, you know, and I get it, you know, not every place is going to resonate with everybody, but this place, Siem Reap especially, resonates with me. And, you know, I think for me personally, the proximity to Angkor Wat and being a very, very, very revered place in Cambodia by the locals and by the people like me that come here, that, I don't know, I think there is a change that happens when you're here. I know it happened to me. And I became calmer, quieter, and more in tune with my surroundings, which I found to be very important for myself. And it feels good to be here. Like I said, it was neat talking to folks, and, you know, we're saying things and serendipity was happening, and like, we're like, you know, like completely different, like, beliefs on some aspects, but other things were just bang on. And I was just like, you know, if we'd only had that one bit of a conversation, it would have been like, I don't want to talk to this person. But we kept going. And so happy that it did. But again, that happens all the time here because, like we said, there's something here. I find it to be pretty freaking special. And I wanted to keep walking and talking because I've talked about this place a few times. So we're going to go over and take a gander. There is a store opening up. It's been under construction for a while, and there's finally signage on it. We walked by it the other day, and there wasn't anything. And then Dean messaged me this morning, sent me a picture, and I'm like, oh. So we've been like, you know, going, oh, what's it going to be? What's it going to be? We even said, oh, maybe there's a Mr. DIY going to be here. Well, we now know it's not. So I am here now. Just a second here. Let me get you guys situated here. 1 second. Okay. I should have known by this shape what they were doing. There's going to be another Angkor supermarket. The way it looked down at the bottom, there's like all these like wooden looking shelving in it. So we thought it was clothing, but yeah. But now you can see like shopping carts. It's opening up on the 29th. And of course I will be here for it because we have finally got another supermarket in town. Now, I just walked from the other market. So it's like 10-minute walk or so. I can measure it here. Walking slowly, 15. So having one here in town is going to be great. I'm going to be very excited to go and check it out, obviously. There was one down here when I first moved in, but it was kind of like a mini mart. It wasn't really as much of a grocery store as this. So I'm excited for it because it means my life is going to be a lot easier to get places. Ooh. Dog came running around the thing, saw me and just like stopped right in his drag, like, oh God, what's happening? So anyway, if you guys have been here, or if you ever encountered, like what I was saying about that whole like-minded thing, you know, if you're here and you find the same, or if you find it different, let me know. Like I said, it just kind of resonated with me last night. We had a nice chat, and it felt good, you know, to have those thoughts for myself, and then to have it kind of, you know, reinforced, you know. And that's the other thing too, is like, even like Alan Dean and I, we vary in difference. And the thing is, like, there are some topics that we are polar opposites on, but we joke back and forth about it, you know. And you know, they'll even joke about, you know, I know that you're crazy and you think like that, this kind of thing. I don't have an issue with it because they're my friends, you know. And if you just have the same thoughts, how boring would that be? And that's the other thing too, is like, I found, like, when you're surrounded by that echo chamber, it just becomes so fucking boring. Like, where's a challenge, you know? I like to be challenged mentally sometimes, you know, and I don't mind being wrong, you know. There's times I'll be talking and they'll go, oh shit. So yeah, this building here, this used to be the mini, like the market, the anchor market here. That shut down about a year ago, I guess. Because I live just down this street, down the Tapo. Like, I lived 500 meters that way before, when I first moved to town. But I used to use this corner store all the time, just getting basic stuff. But yeah, having a nice big grocery store not too far away, perfect. But anyway, I think I've done enough rambling. I think it's time for me to head home and cook myself some dinner and enjoy the rest of my evening. So hope you guys are enjoying yourselves too. If you like the content, please feel free to like, comment, share, subscribe. And as always, if you're still here and you are so inclined, I'll post links on the video over here. I'll see you guys soon. Take care, everybody. Bye.